Hey, hello everybody. I just want to make a quick video responding to a post that I made yesterday. I believe it was yesterday or maybe it was Saturday. Anyways, I posted a post saying how those born from 1967, 68, 69, and even 1970, but not so much, but really the later end of the 1960s, that you guys have been and will be going through quite an interesting period that is multi-layered and complex, of dissolving your whole world paradigm and getting you ready to really make a massive shift and clearing of so much karmic energy on a soul level through multiple lifetimes, where there is basically a reset, a sort of reset happening through this work. And in the process, there is some confusion that may happen as a side effect, being confused of your role, being confused of what direction to take, being confused of your past choices, and being confused of your greater purpose and what all this means in the world. Now, the reason why this is occurring, well, the reason I believe this is occurring is because those of you born on these dates, moving forward, as the world is completely shifting right now, we are in completely unknown territory in terms of where the future of humanity and the world and all of the systems we have built over the last few centuries is heading. Where is all of this heading? And what I mean by that is we are in a period where we are going through tremendous fertile soil, where the potential to pioneer and create new ways, new pathways, new systems, creating new things of value is so potent right now. And what is very significant about y'all born in the 60s, throughout the whole 60s. So, this isn't just for those born 67, 68, 69, the whole 60s, we can break that down. But I really want to focus on just 67, 68, 69 right now, and maybe we'll touch a little bit on 67. Now, as an astrologer, something that happens almost every time I get multiple bookings in the same day. These, like, so for example, Saturday I had 3 bookings, and these 3 bookings almost the same kind of chart all around, because they were born during these years. And in fact, this whole past 12 months, I've been getting a lot of clients that are born with the North Node in Aries. And so a lot of these clients that are born with the North Node in Aries, they have been going through a nodal return, which happens only once every 18, 19 years, give or take a few months. So this would be their third nodal return in their lifetime. If you're born during this time, this would be your third nodal return. Now, the reason why I'm adding emphasis to this moment right now, and with the whole world shifting, is y'all are much older than me. You guys are a lot older than millennials and the younger generations. So, you have, some type of established foundation already, some type of integration. Some of y'all have already lived, whole careers working within the old paradigm structures. You get what I'm saying? Some of you have already gone through all of the old traditional format of how things used to be, working in the corporate world, working in the food industry, working in the nonprofit, working in technology. And now, as the world is shifting, you guys are already sitting at the table where these established ways are. So you guys have a very unique positioning of power and pivoting where to pioneer through your vision as you are being activated into this new energy. So my generation are really relying on on you guys to do this work and come out the other side. Now, I also need to speak to really quick because, so many of us people like myself that talk about, mission and purpose and the world is changing and we have to do something about all the fucked up things. Granted, not everybody is in a position to actually do something. Some of us live on fixed income, on disability, social security. Some of us are missing a limb. Some of us are dealing with so much fucking damage and trauma that it's just hard. So it's like, I don't mean to, like, tell everybody that, you have to like do something spectacular. Your mission, our missions of what we can do, to help raise the vibration and shift things are so important on all scales, which means if all you can do is pray, then pray. If all you can do is help a veteran or help somebody that's struggling once a week or once a month or whatever, go ahead and do that. If all you can do is go to an assisted living home and bring some entertainment and love or whatever, go ahead and do that. If all you can do is just draw or write or sing or dance or whatever, go ahead and do that. If all you can do is just take care of yourself, making sure that you are loving yourself, nurturing yourself, that is huge. So there's no mission or purpose that is greater than the other. Yes, they'll have different scales of impact, but all of it is important because we are all so connected. So I just wanted to get that out of the way because there are a lot of us that are tuning into these communities, to this kind of information, and we feel some type of way. We feel very limited. So do what you can do in respects to your limitations, okay? And God knows what's in your heart, all right? So what is happening in the charts of people born in the late to mid 60s? Well, the first thing we're going to talk about is Chiron. Y'all are born with Chiron and Pisces, the late degrees of Chiron and Pisces. Almost the whole 60 generation are born with Chiron and Pisces, but y'all born with Chiron at the latest degree of Pisces. Look at 68. You guys have Chiron there. 69, boom, Chiron jumps into Aries. 67, Chiron is in Aries. So y'all 69, 67 are going through your Chiron return. um, but those of you with Chiron and Pisces right now, over for about a year or so, you guys have been experiencing Neptune on your Pisces. And look at this chart for 1967. There's Saturn and Chiron conjunct there, and we'll even go to 66 right now, just for shits and giggles. Look at that. 66. We're gonna go forward some months. Let's figure out when exactly this was going on here. Boom, passed it. Happened so fast. Look at that. Those of you guys born 1967 on March, in the month of March, are born with Chiron and Saturn conjunct. So you guys have already been going through this for the last few years of Neptune being over your Chiron and your Saturn. So let's go back a few years. Let's go back a year, 2 years. One. Boom. So from 2022, you guys have been dealing with Neptune on your Saturn and on your Chiron. And that is huge. Why is it huge? Well, what does Chiron represent? Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron is this profound, deep shamanic energy that helps us go into our more internal, deeper states to process our wounds, our trauma, our distortions, and heal it. And in that process of healing it, it awakens a greater discovery, connecting us to more transcendental energies. So Chiron is known as the rainbow bridge, taking us from the physical plane into higher celestial planes. If you've ever done ayahuasca then you know, when you if you ever been a part of an ayahuasca ceremony, when you're showing up and doing all of the work to be there, you're sitting in a circle, you're connecting, maybe you're sharing. Everybody there is carrying some kind of baggage, traumatic wounds, psychological wounds, emotional wounds, spiritual wounds, karmic wounds. And then we start taking the medicine, drinking the ayahuasca, doing the hape, the rape, you know, which hape is not a pleasurable experience. It's very intense. It's harsh, and you know, during the first several hours of being in ceremony, you're purging. You're dealing with all your emotions, all your toxins coming up, and it's coming through the digestion system, and you're vomiting and you're purging, and all the snot and the tears, and you're crying. Maybe you even have some fucking diarrhea coming out, and you're coming it's coming out on both ends, all ends, and it's nasty and it's yucky, and the shaman is holding the space for you, playing the instruments, singing the songs, helping soothe the soul, soothe the nervous system. And it's not until we go through that first part of purging and sitting in our shit and all of the things that come up in our mind that we don't think about every day, but are operating in the background of your subconscious, that contribute to why you are depressed or deal with this vicious cycle of sabotage or whatever the story is, addiction, whatever. It's not until we go through that first process where we release, where the medicine then is able to take us through the more transcendental experiences where we move through bliss and euphoria. And that is when when the medicine takes us to, to experience, galactic cosmic things. I know that's how it was for me. I went through first, going through a lot of things, and then once processing and clearing and transmuting and transforming and letting go of a lot of the stuff, then I experience, this blue ET being coming from the sky, and it was an aspect of me, and I was like, whoa, that's me. And then I merged with that, and then when I merged with that, I transformed into a dolphin with wings, a dolphin with wings, and I was swimming or flying through the astrals, which some say, space is just an ocean. And I was using sonar to open portals, and was just moving and moving through like other dimensions and realms. And at the same time, like my mind was experiencing an upload of a lot of different activations. So that is that's how Chiron is. Chiron is the medicine, the shaman that wants to be this rainbow bridge to take you into these higher celestial forms, these higher celestial experiences. But in order to first reach that, we have to go through the healing of our wounds, of our trauma that have been with us for lifetimes. So that's Chiron. And you guys are born with Chiron in Pisces. Pisces is the very, very, very last sign of the zodiac. Chiron being the symbol of two fishes constantly swimming out of different realms and dimensions, one dimension and its opposite, all at the same time, moving through a lot of different realms. Pisces is very formless. Pisces being the 12th sign, Pisces energy has to deal with fulfilling and completing karmic energies, karmic baggage. So this is why people who have a lot of Pisces energy or a lot of energy in their 12th house tend to experience some intense phenomenons where maybe they deal with addiction, or maybe they deal with escaping, or they have a profound connection to the unity consciousness of all things. There's a lot to talk about Pisces. Pisces, Pisces energy is deeply connected to the subconscious, and how the psychology of our subconscious is operating beyond our knowing, beyond our conscious awareness, because we can't be fully conscious of what the subconscious is doing. It's like almost impossible unless you're a god. So, the subconscious and Pisces deeply connected to our psychological framework that is responsive to our belief systems and what we imagine through our belief systems, which the universe responds to that unconditionally. So this is why Pisces is also known to be the victim or the martyrdom, or always sacrificing themselves. The Pisces is also the sign of sacrifice, the 12th house. So if you're dealing with trauma and wounds, in the subconscious that have molded your belief systems, beyond your conscious awareness, then it affects the experiences you have within the matrix that you create. And with Chiron being in Pisces, you guys are fulfilling and clearing out deep, profound spiritual trauma and wounds that go back through multiple lifetimes. And over the past few years, since Neptune has been in Pisces, all of you guys born in the 60s, but right now, the late 60s, you guys are up. Early 60s already went through Neptune, a Neptune crossing over your Chiron in the earlier degrees. The later degrees gets a little bit more fucking intense, especially right here where we're looking at in March 1967. Look at that. Saturn is conjunct Chiron right there. And so with Neptune being on that point, Neptune is the ruling planet of Pisces. So this has been pushing you guys through relive some intense, profound experiences that are parallel to traumatic events you have gone through within your previous lifetime cycles. And now with that going on, you guys are going through this right now. Those of you born 68, 69, this is where it's going to get really fucking intense. So with Neptune being directly on your on your Chiron, I'm going to read to you guys something here, and then we're going to break it down some more. So Neptune on Chiron. So, Neptune is a very slow moving planet. So those of you guys that have your Neptune on your Chiron right now are going to be within this container of Neptune, allowing you, Neptune being the shaman with Chiron, allowing you to go deep and heal so much fucking shit. It's going to change the world because you guys are carrying within your soul, within your spirit, like really heavy karmic trauma that's connected to the whole Piscean age of false prophets and martyrdom and sacrifice and being victims. So I'm going to read to you guys something here. Neptune with conjuncting your natal Chiron. This may be a stressful time for you. What is affected that part of yourself that is a dissolver of old structures, for the purpose of making way for some hitherto unseen aspect of yourself to emerge, and you will necessarily undergo a transformation of your spiritual values at this time. You will likely experience a tension between an old and outmoded way of being and a new vision of what could be possible. The shadow side is disappointment with yourself, perhaps even depression. And there could be confusion about what you truly want at this time. But the joy of this spiritual journey of discovery comes from making peace with yourself and beginning to fulfill your dreams. The gap between the ideal and the merely real could become very wide for you at this time. Something new deep inside you is awaiting birth. You are learning how to hang out with the uncertainty of it all. The world as it presents itself to you during this period is not so pat and simple as it seemed. There are angels in the woodwork calling out for you to listen with your inner senses. You are dreaming a new realization into being for yourself, ultimately a new world. Since the world is really what we are dreaming into being with each new moment, if you dream wisely at this time, you can make a difference for yourself and for others around you as well. So all of you born through the 60s have been going through that already. Early 60 folks, you guys have gone and went through that. Later 60 folks, you guys are going through it now, and it's a little bit more intense than the earlier 60 folks, for a number of different reasons. One, considering that you are also going through your north node return in Aries, and Chiron is conjuncting that north node in Aries during this transit, and then Saturn is going to be catching up to where Neptune currently is. So one other thing to add for those of you born that time of March, in March of 1967, because you guys have it, you guys are a special team of this particular energy of Neptune, facilitating a profound healing with Chiron of all of your spiritual wounds through multiple lifetimes. And that is, you guys also have Saturn conjunct your Chiron in Pisces. So you guys are also going through your Saturn return at the same fucking time. So Neptune conjunct your Saturn at this time. I'm going to read to you another thing. You are in for a potentially stressful period in which it is hard to tell which direction to go in your life. This is a time of great confusion and uncertainty as the habitual structure of your life is called into question by new insights and awareness, and you feel somewhat disoriented as a result. Perhaps you are being pushed to make changes, are in the direction of greater compassion and concern for others, and less purely selfish behavior. You are unsure whether to maintain the rigid structure of your old and more established habit patterns, which, even if not totally working for you, at least provide security, or to make important changes that seem to be calling to you from the still small voice of your spiritual center. For now, it benefits you to find a way to simply suspend yourself in the uncertainty of it all. You may be afraid of movement out of your narrow self and into a broader outlook, but when the current period of time passes, the way clears and you find yourself ushered into a new reality that no longer feels elusive, just out of reach. So this is really, really big, you guys. So some of the things that I see, the visions I get in terms of past lives, is all of you guys born with this, which is millions of you guys, have lived lifetimes either being sacrifices, either being persecuted, have lived lifetimes where you were victim of the religions and cults around the world. Maybe you were a nun, maybe you were a monk or a priest or something. And with your lifetime experiences being within these religious indoctrinations that were lacking integrity and were not pure, you guys have deep spiritual, psychological wounds that come from your experiences of, let's say, being a nun or a priest, and you were either a rapist or were just raped every day as a nun in the nunnery or something like that. Like, this is really intense shit, you know? And all of that is healing right now. And there are more examples as to the type of images or past life scenarios that there are to this, but this is just the strongest one that's coming to me at this moment. So Neptune is a very tricky energy to deal with. And the way to deal with Neptune is just to surrender, and go with the flow, because Neptune is the trickster energy. So we can be going through, Neptune can be operating through our subconscious back doors and maneuvering us and tricking us and guiding us in certain ways that could lead to, sabotage here and there or a mistake here and there. But everything is happening because it is a parallel image to things that have occurred to you karmically through past life experiences, in order to move that and change the way that you respond to the happening in this lifetime. So moving forward, you are actually correcting the karma. Now in the coming years, very soon, Saturn is going to catch up to Pisces. Saturn is going to catch up to Neptune in Pisces. Now, so now we're looking at 1968. Chiron is right there. So let's look at, so watch this. Let's go to when Chiron was at, boom, went too far. Boom, March of 1968. Chiron is at 29 degrees Pisces. The 29th degree of Pisces is the most weirdest, the most strangest paranormal degree within the whole 360-degree zodiac. It's the most weirdest fucking point in the whole zodiac, the 29 degree of Pisces, because it's the least fucking degree of consciousness moving through all phases. Now, you guys will soon be experiencing Neptune on your Chiron. Not yet, it's on your peripheral. Right now, it's not there, but it's on your peripheral. And by the time Neptune, by the time Neptune reaches 29 degrees, look at going into next year, Neptune is at 28 degrees. This is when you're really going to be experiencing that Neptune on your Chiron. But then look what's going to happen in another year from now, going into 2026. Actually, let's just go forward a couple months. So, boom. Go back one more month, see what happens there. Okay, so Neptune dips his toes in Pisces. In Aries, 0 degrees Aries next year. But then Saturn has finally caught up to these later degrees of Pisces. So you guys, 67, 68, 69, that have these late degrees of Pisces, as Saturn catches up to where Neptune, this is going to bring formation and crystallization of being able to see and integrate exactly what Neptune has been moving for you. And it can be intense. It can feel like this heavy weight is going on, or at the same time, it could feel like you are blasting through opportunities in your life that you never thought was going to happen. It's going to be a little bit of everything. It's going to be strange. But before Saturn catches up, what Neptune is doing is it's dissolving all the layers. It's dissolving all the form and the structure and making it completely formless. And then when Saturn comes, it's going to create new form, new structure around your belief systems, the way you connect with the divine, your ability to tap into your supernatural psychic capabilities. So much is going to go on when Saturn catches up to this point. Now going back to today, Chiron, the North Node has been in Aries. Chiron is in Aries too. And this past week, Chiron and the North Node made an exact conjunction in Aries at 16 degrees. It was last Monday when the apex of this conjunction occurred. So you guys, 67, 68, and even 69. Let me see, 69. Yeah, even the beginning of 69, all the way up until February of 69. You guys have North Node in Aries. Those of you guys born with North Node in Aries means that your South Node is in Libra. People who have lived people who have a South Node in Libra, we can get a sense that their past lives, they never got to express their individuality. They never got to formulate their own identity. They had to basically withhold themselves. They lived past lifetimes where social etiquette was highly controlled and you couldn't step out the boundaries of social etiquette and expectations of how people are supposed to behave. So you never got to express your true longings, your true desires, or take action on them. So one example I really like about South Node Libra people is you guys have likely also lived lifetimes during, the more like Victorian ages in the late 1700s, 1800s, where, if you were a man or a woman and, you wanted to get to know somebody that you fancy, and you're like, you wanted to approach them and say, would you like to go, join me for a walk so we can get to know each other? You know, if you were going to ask somebody of the opposite sex to go on a walk at the garden to just get to know them, then there had to be a chaperone. The young girl or whatever had to have a chaperone. There needed to be another person to see, or else if the city or the town witness you two walking without a chaperone, then they're going to be like, oh my god, scandal, what are they up to, blah blah blah, and all the rumors and gossips and things like that. There's a show on Netflix called Bridgerton. If you watch that show of Bridgerton, that is all South Node and Libra past life experience, where you couldn't really be yourself. And there were all these structures within society. So that's one example. That's one example of how South Node and Libra energy is. Now, what that means, having a North Node in Aries, is that in order to correct your karma in this lifetime, what is most important for you is establishing what your identity is and taking action on what your desires are, of what you want. Which means to know if you're not fulfilling the correction of this karma is staying in the comfort zones of being like, well, I have my family and this is and that, and this is all I need, and I'm very shy, and everybody else's energy overwhelms me, and so it's just easier for me to just, be in the background. You're not fulfilling you're not correcting this karma. You're not moving into this North Node energy. And that can be hard for North Node Aries people, because due to the fact that you've lived many lifetimes in the South Node Libra energy, where being hyper aware of social etiquettes and your environment and how your interpersonal relationships operate over those past lifetimes, you have developed a superpower of very strong, clear, and even overwhelming empathy. North Node Aries people are going to be the strongest, most real deal empaths out of any other North Node group. You guys are true empaths, but your empathy is so strong that it can be overwhelming, because the identity and forces of other people can wash over you if you don't develop your own identity or sense of self. And this is why people with North Node Aries, it's very easy for you to bully. I've noticed out of the dozens of North Node Aries clients that these people are easily targeted by those that can sense that openness, that weakness, and lack of your own identity, and overpower and bully you and try to put you in submission. And because your South Node is in Libra, it's very easy to fall back in that energy. So also, the other thing about having a North Node energy is you have to get comfortable with conflict. You have to get comfortable with fighting and standing up for your own. So because right now, this past month, going through your North Node return, and Chiron made this conjunction, this has been facilitating a healing of your ego and an invitation for you to really step out and recreate or come forward in a much more courageous, authoritative sense of your own ego identity. And the other thing that is very profound about you guys in 67, 68, is you guys also have Saturn in Aries. So in the coming years, when Saturn is done moving through Pisces, Saturn is then going to hit Aries, and then boom, you guys are going to start your Saturn return, your second Saturn return in this lifetime. So you guys that are born with Saturn in your North Node in the same sign of Aries, this is very important, because what is the North Node? The North Node is opposite of the South Node, and if the South Node is the past lives, the North Node is the future. North Node governs fate, and destiny. But really, the North Node is the unknown experiences that your soul is not familiar with. And that's where your growth needs to head towards. And Saturn is integrity, responsibility, structures, rules, discipline, systems. Saturn is very militant and authoritative. So those of you guys born with this North Node Aries and your Saturn and Aries close to this North Node, you guys are born with this strong sense of duty, this strong sense of mission. I have to do something. You guys are born with an authority within yourself that can't be matched. You guys are authoritative figures to pioneer, because Aries is also the sign of pioneer, the initiator. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. The first day of Aries is the spring equinox. Aries governs the initiation of spring. Aries is, let me move forth and pioneer a new invention, a new design, a new system. So with Saturn in your North Node, you guys carry a destiny that is a burden of a mission to create to pioneer and create new structures and systems of authority within the world. And so as the world is changing, so while Neptune is doing this work over your Chiron, and with Saturn coming to hit this area over your Chiron in the coming year, and those of you that have Saturn and Pisces also, like, first, what you guys are going through is this profound, deep healing, clearing layers and layers and layers of spiritual karmic wounds and baggage. And at the same time that is clearing and the world is changing, there's a stage being set up for you guys of like, we need you, because you guys are already reaching your 60s, your mid 50s and your 60s. And many of you guys have already lived careers, like I said, established within the corporate world and science and medicine and all sorts of stuff. Now it's time for you to step up as an authority to maintain integrity of what is true and what is real, to ensure that the opposition does not take full force in trying to implement their new world order agenda. It's not going to happen, because we are here. And so I, being a Sun, Moon, Pallas, Athena, Gemini, am just simply operating as a messenger. This is a message that I'm broadcasting out to all of you to validate and confirm that what you're here to do is very fucking real, and we need you. For example, I know two people who I believe are born with this, that are really deep into human design. Shout out to Raquel and shout out to Davidian. I love these two people. They are friends of mine. They recently got married, and it was one of the most beautiful things I ever got to participate in. And their whole life is all about human design. They study it passionately, they teach it passionately, and it's a new system. It's a very new system that has only been birthed within our lifetime here. And so as the world is changing and this new system is here, they are stepping into their roles of responsibility to maintain the integrity of how human design is going to grow and be shared and spread across the world. That's one example. Another example is somebody born with this that has been a doctor for decades, and they're seeing what's happening with the lack of integrity and corruption within the pharmaceutical industries. And now they're coming out and they're saying this and that and this and that. So most of the doctors that you see on panels that are laying down the facts of the corruption that's happening, they're born during this time. They're born. I just watched a video of a doctor talking about what type of government experiments were occurring with viruses the year before he was born. And he was talking about the year 1967, which means he was born 1968. And that's this year right now. So that gentleman that is, on a panel talking to political officials and the public, the people, is stepping up to his responsibility on that platform, his role, his mission, and being responsible of maintaining the integrity of what's right and just for the people. And this is profoundly, deeply healing, because the whole world has been enslaved and indoctrinated by a false inverted, perverted matrix construct. And now younger generations need you because they are going to be in a whole other ballpark. We need you guys to maintain the integrity and hold down the frequencies and to basically be the bridge holders as the younger generations that are going to be more advanced in these energies that you guys are on. So like you guys are very advanced, but then once we go into 1990 and then into the 2000s, the wave of advancement, makes leaps and bounds, and we all have our different roles and responsibilities. And those being born right now, this is why we are doing all of this. All of this that we have to do is to maintain this mission, this integrity for those born right fucking now with the Pluto Capricorn babies and the Pluto Aquarius babies that are going to be coming out of that are going to be being birthed for the next 20 years. So no wonder why they wanted to put vaccines in people that are going to make them not have babies and create depopulation, because the babies that are going to be born with Pluto and Aquarius are going to be out of this fucking world. They're going to be literal aliens. For most of these babies, it's probably going to be the very first time they had a physical incarnate in human form. They're going to be so fucking advanced. And if we don't do something, what we can within respects to our limitations of our physical environments and all of that stuff, we're going to be doing the future a complete disservice, because everything that's designed within the opposition with these frequencies, with AI, with technology, with media, with food, is to attack the children, to attack you, to weaken you so you become a little fucking bitch and not a divine warrior masculine, a divine nurturing feminine, and just who cares? Yeah, I'm pro-abortion. Suck that baby out of me. Fuck them kids. I don't give a fuck. Like, what happened? You know what I mean? So everything is designed to attack and weaken us. So no one gives a fuck about the children anymore. I'm straight channeling right now. I'm getting very passionate. I had no idea that I was going to say any of this at all. But with that being said, this video is long enough. Those of you born during this time right now, huge shout out to you. We need you. I love you. I respect you. You're going to be going through a profound healing in the years to come when Neptune and Saturn make that transition out of Pisces and into Aries together. Things are going to shift. That clarity, you're not going to be in that domain of that profound, deep spiritual karmic wound, that messiness anymore. And things are going to progress in Aries. And then that North Node and that Saturn are going to be activated in ways that you never saw coming for yourself. And it's going to be fucking glorious. And I respect the shit out of you guys and everything that you're going through right now. This is huge. Like, I have another client. Oh my gosh. Don't even get me started about what this other client has been going through. Massive karmic shit. So shout out to you, my dear sister, all the way in the fucking Netherlands, what you've been dealing with, holding space for you. Like, you guys are fucking really deep, going through intense, multi-life, multi-level, complex karmic shit right now. And please survive, and just remember, the one thing you are not to do is fall back in that South Node Libra energy of complacency, of passive aggressiveness, of being afraid of conflict, of being afraid of what it means to own up to your own truth and to express the values of your own identity and individuality. So if you're doing that and you're holding yourself back, you are not doing your karmic work. You are not doing your karmic work. You are failing at it. And that's just the fucking truth from an astrological sense. There's more to say. There's always more to say about this. So if you want to book a reading with me and we can break down your charts and get more personal of what you've been experiencing individually in your life and multidimensionally, book a reading with me. My website is starseedsalsa.com. If you need further assistance in healing and moving through the blockages or whatever, I'm also a hypnotherapist, a certified clinical hypnotherapist. I went to school for many, many, many months and practiced hundreds of hours of hypnosis to be a better of service to you and I and the world. So I offer astrology and hypnosis. And in that, we do energy work. We do a lot of beautiful things in that process. And this work in healing and transforming and rising up, it takes time and it takes effort. And this is how you love yourself, is by doing this work, loving yourself on a soul level. Okay. And remember, you are never without. We live in an infinite construct that is abundant. Like this eternal universe is always abundant. So tap into that. If you feel like you are lacking, don't believe that you are in lack. All right, everybody. With that, I got to end this and get ready for my day job. Yeah, I got a day job, but that's not what I do all the time. This is my passion. So here we go, everybody. Peace.